How's it going? Sunday night chat. I don't know what I'm going to talk about today. Just other than, I suppose, what is going on. Uh, Check it out. I've had this for a little while. This was really inexpensive. I bought it over the summer when I had some money coming in. And it's a vintage from the 70s. Wrist cuff could be from the 60s, late 60s, mid 60s. It's got a vintage Timex on there that is an automatic and it's actually running. You know what's really funny about this? I was watching the 68 comeback special, the Elvis thing, on Netflix. I did a video on it. Elvis. Elvis. Elvis the Pelvis. And he was wearing the same one, pretty much. I think it's pretty much the same thing. I'm not sure if it had the little chrome dots here, the rivets or not, but it definitely had the rings because I did a tight shot of it. I couldn't see the watch he was wearing. But and I thought, yeah, I should make one of those or find one. And then I thought of it, I was like, well, I have one already. You know, when you have so much stuff, that's one of those things. You forget the stuff that you have. Excuse me. We've been over this before. You think it's mustache wax, but it's not. It's my joke. It's my joke. Here, let me do this for you. Nobody does that on TV, huh? You never see that in a movie. You never see anybody just trying to dig out a winner. Just like really, nobody ever shows you the real humans, what real humans do. You might see somebody sitting on a pooper every once in a while in a movie, but it's rare, you know. So many things in movies that they don't do enough of that happen in real life that it's always funny to me. At any rate, I just spent 20 minutes plucking and shaving the hair off my ears. That's another thing that nobody tells you about as you get older. You know, you're going to start growing all this hair. I've talked about that before. It's the most annoying thing, and you have to keep up on it. If you don't keep up on it, you're like Eddie friggin' Munster walking around. It probably will affect your friggin' hearing after a while. To me, it's embarrassing. You know, I can imagine you talk to somebody that you like, and maybe you see their eyes drift over there, and you're not even thinking about it. And then you go home, and you look, and there's like, you know, it looks like a fox stole, you know, around the rim of your ear there, and you know, it's ridiculous. It's friggin' crazy. I got to keep up on the nose hairs, guys. If you have a mustache, right, and if you look at yourself, take a picture or something, if it looks like your nose hairs are coming out of your nose and connecting into your mustache, that's a problem. That's a friggin' problem. Trim that. There should be a little gap there, you know? Ladies, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm talking about. I forgot to look at the time. Did you like that? A little nose picking for you? We should have a booger contest, maybe. Maybe that's what we should do. Or is everybody clicking off now? Every once in a while I get these comments on a video like, nobody wants to see this. Nobody's going to watch this. And then I watch as the numbers go up. So I'm like, well, I guess you were wrong about that, Buster. I don't, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. What did you all think of the video I posted yesterday, which was the first episode of Mike Z Design, How I Made This? Let me know what you think about that, because I think it's pretty cool. It's people aren't complaining about my issue with it was going to be, does it look okay on screen? And I watched it. It doesn't look bad. You can kind of see it. I'm gonna have to make the screen bigger or something there. But I think you got enough of the details. You know what I noticed when I'm looking at the computer screen is one thing, and then when I watch the video after the fact, the camera in the phone, it's overexposing the screen a little bit. I'm not sure if I'll be able to correct that. So you're not able to see a lot of the detail that I'm kind of pointing out when I'm selecting a particular image. So I don't know if I'll get better at that or not. I don't think it's that important. I think it's more about, it is warm in here. I should crack a window open. I think it's more about, I'm telling you what's going on, and you can see enough in the image. And a lot of you don't know what I'm talking about anyhow. I had at least one comment like that. He didn't know what I was talking about, but he still appreciated what it was there. Anyhow, I'm going to do that often. right now, probably, because I want to kind of get that over with and create a playlist for it. That is in response to that one jerky person that in one of the recent videos. Oh, it was the one I was making the little boxes underneath the deck there in that Forerunner, and saying it's high school level and all that. And I don't want to argue with the guy about that. He's not wrong, but I already addressed that talking about it. It's about knowing how to do it and knowing what to do and figuring it out as you go and taking, like, those boxes weren't fine furniture, but anybody who looks at the details that I put in them can say, oh, this guy knows what he's doing, versus what other people would do. Like, one of my biggest pet peeves about van life construction is pocket screws, right? Using the Craig pocket screw system. It's a smart idea in a way, because you are just using the plywood and you're not using framing inside the plywood, and that is always a good idea when you're doing a van build, because it's saving you weight and interior storage space. But it doesn't look good, and it's weekend warrior stuff. It's the sort of thing anybody can do, and yeah. So I'm not trying to knock that, by the way. I mean, everybody does any project up to their skill level. That's all. My thing is challenge your skill level and get better at it, so you do better stuff. If you're going to do it more than once, anyhow. Maybe if you're going to want to do it for a living, improve upon your techniques. I guess that's a weird thing to say too, because maybe you're charging exactly this much, and so this is fast for you and you've got the stuff to do it, and that makes sense. And if you listen to me, you'll be putting more time into it and not getting compensated for it. So maybe don't listen to me. You know what? You can listen to me for entertainment purposes only. Okay, how's that sound? Don't take my advice that seriously. I'm just some dude talking to his phone, all alone in the world. I'm gonna make a toilet for myself this week. Bought this off Amazon. Check it out. It's a separator. So, you poop in it, but then if you pee, it goes in here. And so the idea is, I've got, I think, about 14 inches maybe of space underneath my little deck there that I sleep on. And so this is pretty small. This is going to be fine. I'm going to make a plywood box that this bucket's going to sit in. And this is going to sit in here like that. And then I have a laundry detergent container that I use as a pee bottle in the van with a wide mouth on it. And so I'll get one of those that's appropriate for this. I'll make all of it work. And so I'll have that separate. And so the box will be the right size so that it fits this here and comes out just enough for the pee bottle. And then I guess what will happen is this portion here will be in something about this tall with hinges. So I can hinge that up. Boom. To lift this out. And the idea here would be you would line that with a plastic bag and then pull the bag out, tie it up, and toss it. This is emergency only, by the way. Normally there's plenty of places to poop, all right? And obviously you'll be able to grab the bottle and dump that, and then this closes back down. And then what'll be up here is what I got to figure out, because I'll probably have this screwed to a thing. Well, it will be screwed to something there. And I'll probably have another board on this that I'm going to cut my own hole out of, like a toilet hole, that I'll round over and seal it and everything. Thing is that I want a lid on that, but I was kind of thinking about it. We're going to have to test this for comfort, because I don't want to have another hinge here. I was thinking about having a 3-sided part that comes out about a 1/2 inch or so, with a groove in it, so that there's a sliding piece. You just grab it, you slide out, you put it to the side, and then you slide that in, and then it's sealed on all these sides, just in case you had to tie it up and leave it in there. You don't want it stinking up the van. I think that'll make it more airtight. But this is pretty tiny. I don't know how it looks on camera, but this is pretty small. And it's a lot smaller than like a 5-gallon bucket. It's definitely shorter, and I don't think it's as big around. It's close to it. But if it was all in a plywood box, you know, that little box is just a box. You could sit on the box and use it as a seat in the van and slide it out of the way. And being square, flat-sided, it fits tight up against the walls that I created in there. And I think it'll be kind of a neat idea. So we'll see. I'm definitely going to make it, and we'll see how it goes. I have that stainless steel scissoring seat toilet that is designed with this plastic ring where you could snap a bag around that, you roll around, you put the ring back in place, and you set that thing up and you do your business in there. But I never use it that way. I have, right? I've tested it. I've done it in the van. But that's what that's really good for, is if you have a camping spot out somewhere and you're going to stay in one place for a while, especially if it's going to be more than a day. It doesn't really matter. That's great to use in the woods instead of just trying to squat. It's way more comfortable. But if you're staying there for several days, you find a spot that's going to be your permanent latrine the whole time you're there. Dig a good sized hole in the ground, and you just use that there. And you fill in the hole when you leave. You wash the thing off with some baby wipes or something. It's not like it's really getting dirty. You fold that up, and the closet box that's behind my driver's seat is designed to house that and solar panels. Plus, there's a bunch of other cubbies and a drawer underneath that. You guys have seen that already. But if I don't have to bring that toilet with me, then I can use that big spot there for other things. So I'm hoping to get that to that soon, possibly tomorrow. I behind the 8 ball again financially. Today's the 1st. I got to write a rent check. I just paid a bunch of bills. So I have some things to do over here at the Johnsons where I have my shop. Obviously, Thanksgiving threw a wrench and everything. We had some rain here. It wasn't terrible. But it's enough to keep me from doing anything outside. So I got to get back over there. I've got some stucco work to do for them. I got to scrape and paint some jambs around the exterior of the house, and I have to redo their front door still. So tomorrow I'm going over there. I'm going to work a little bit on some of that stuff. But then I have to go to Kyrgyz this week, and I'm going to have probably at least 3 days there. She has a neighbor that's a good neighbor. She's got a bad neighbor, she's got a good neighbor, and another good neighbor, and a couple jerk-offs over here. But the good people over here, they want to meet me, talk to me about doing some stuff, and I'm going to be doing about 2 feet of wood fencing on the block wall that's there. So I'll make a few bucks doing that. Then I'll come back and get some of this stuff done for the Johnsons. And that's probably what I'll be doing pretty much all this month here in December, is trying to knock all that stuff out and then figure out what's going to happen next. Part of me is kind of hoping that sharing the higher end work that I've done in the past from the Mike Z Design Facebook page with you guys, the way I did it yesterday, will maybe generate some interest. I don't know about the guy that I was going to do the structure for. He sent me a budget, but he didn't detail that. Like, is that what you want to give me to do it? Or that's what you have for the whole build? So I'm going to have to communicate with him a little bit more about that and see if any of that's really doable. It's hard when you're dealing with people that are movie film type people because they just want to get it done, and they're kind of used to people wanting to be part of it and then kind of donating time to a certain extent to get things done. And with me, it's like, well, I don't mind helping you with that stuff, and I'd like to participate and maybe do a part in the movie or something. But when it comes to the work, you get paid for the work, you know. So we'll see. We'll see if that works out. What else is going on? I don't even know. I just set all my quartz watches today because it's the 1st, and we only had 30 days in November. So yeah, set all the dates to the 1st, and I broke a band on my Seiko Turtle trying to adjust that. So I got to figure that one out. I've been talking to somebody, this gal. I mentioned her in a video recently. I said I had the hots for her for like 34 years now, and we've been talking. She's a real special human being. She's back in Jersey. But I think you guys are going to meet her at some point. I think I'm going to have to fly her ass out here. It's just one of those funny things. I don't know how to like talk about it really. And I don't want to talk too much. Well, like the idea of it is funny. Forget about it being her and me. Just for the sake of the conversation, you know, somebody you met back in the day, you're talking to them again now. It's funny to me. It's interesting, not funny, haha, just funny, odd. But I'll tell you the story because that's what I do here. I met her. I did a couple years of college at Ocean County College in Toms River, New Jersey. And I'm from the island, Seaside Park. And I think she's from Island Heights, which is the little island that you get to before you get to Seaside. And she comes from a great family. I think with her, I think there's 7 siblings, and her parents are still married, and they're all good people. They're all good looking people, and the genes are strong. They all look related, obviously. And her siblings are married and have kids for the most part, and they're just good human beings. Anyhow, I remember I met her in the chow hall, the cafeteria. There's this round building there, and she was just such a sweetheart. She has these things that I really like. I like a positive person, positive minded, and when you see them, it's almost annoying how happy they are. You know those people. A lot of you hate those kind of people. I like those people. They don't annoy me. To me, I'm like, wow, that's awesome. How does that happen? How are you happy like that all the time? And nobody's happy all the time. She's always reminding me of that. But when I met her, she was a baby. She was right out of high school, and I was in my 20s. I was probably 24 at the time. And I was working in nightclubs, and I had been around, and I mean, you guys get the gist of it. You've heard the things I've mentioned before. I worked on the boardwalk, man. 14 years old, 15, 16, 17 years old in the summers in the 80s before AIDS and all that. And we were just, it's a good friggin' time, man. It was a good time. It was a good time. So when I met her, I just, her enthusiasm and all these qualities I saw, and she's really pretty. She was, at that time, it was funny. I remember we talked about this the other day, actually. At that age, she had baby fat on her. So to me, I remember, oh, she's a little pudgy. But and like I said, she was young, and there was no way I was going to even try to do anything with her because I just thought I'd be corrupting her. I've told her all this before. This is a conversation we've had, and we laugh about it now. But at that time, that's what was going on in my mind. She had a girlfriend that liked me, who was really cute. But there was a couple things about her that I didn't like. It wasn't who she was. Who she was awesome. She was a total sweetheart, and I probably should have gone out with her. But how screwed up I was at the time. Well, actually, it was a funny thing that happened because I was a man. I was a man around a bunch of kids. And I remember this big guy. He played football, and he came up to me. He had a crush on the girl who had a crush on me, the girl who was friends with this other girl here that I'm talking about. And he came to me, stepped to me about it. Like, he thought he was going to intimidate me, which he didn't. As soon as he found out I wasn't intimidated by him, because he was a punk. He was a kid, 18, 19 years old, right out of high school. He's probably used to bullying people around and everything. And he comes to me, and I'm like, yeah, and like, I'm not afraid of you, dude. He's like, well, what's the story with you and so and so? I was like, well, I'm not into it. Go for it. Just take her out. I think you should take her out. And he was like, oh, okay. So I guess they dated, and that didn't work out. And then I moved out here, and that girl that liked me, she was reaching out to me still, and she wanted to come out. She wanted to come out with her sister, and they came out. And the problem was I hadn't ever met her sister before, and I found her sister more attractive. It's so not cool, man. And I was hanging out with my buddies, and there's pictures of all this. I think some of it's on my Facebook page. So that's a problem. That was a problem. I'm not going to go, I wasn't that interested in that one particular girl anyhow. And then to be more attracted to her sister, that was a problem. So they came out for a week or so, and that was the end of that. And that was the early 90s, and that's it. And this is not the woman I'm talking about. At any rate, I went home, I think it was 2005, and I ran into this woman that I like. And now she was grown up, right? Because we're talking, by that point, we'll say 1990. So, yeah, 15 years later, I run into her in Seaside. I'm on the boardwalk on my bicycle, my cruiser. It's the summertime. I'm home for the summer, and she's walking. She's like, Mike, and we start talking, and she looks great, and she didn't have any more baby fat on her. And now she's 15 years older. By the way, I'm 6 years older than she is. So I'm so like, whoa, into it. I get off the bike and I walk with her because there's no way I'm letting her go this time. I just saw it. I talked to her for a couple minutes, and she just had this. How do I describe this? It's like a angelic kind of thing. This energy that just I pick up on her, that I'm just enamored by. There's nothing else I can say about it. The tone of her voice I like, the way she speaks, all these things. She is tall though. I tend to like tiny little girls. So she's like 5'8", and but just so pleasant, you know. And so I walked with her in my flip flops, and I don't think I ever told her this, but I remember like we're both kind of fit, and we walk fast and whatnot. And if you're wearing flip flops, you probably shouldn't walk fast. So I ended up getting a blister on the tip of my one toe, the toe next to your big toe there. And just a funny thing, it just popped in my brain. It took a couple years for that to really heal right after this. It was so funny. Anyhow, we had this whirlwind romance that lasted a few weeks. And I mean, we were like into it. The problem was she had done missionary work. She goes to church, she prays a lot and all that. She's a nice girl. And she, at that point in time, she was making plans to be a nun of all things. Well, I can't compete with God. Like what am I supposed to do? I like you. We're into this. We're having a good time. We're making out and everything. We didn't do the deed, We're just really spending a lot of time together and getting really close and snuggling and cuddling and making out and all this stuff and the talking. I mean, there was a real vibe there that was undeniable. And anybody who saw us with each other saw it. There was an incident with my jerk-off cousin at the time, too. He was a real asshole about that, but we'll not get into that right now. But she had these plans, and she couldn't, hey, I just popped into her life. I hadn't seen her in 15 years. Even though we have these feelings for each other, I don't live there. I live here. And I was just home for, the summer. And so she was going to continue with this plan to become a nun. I think she was going to Europe or something. She already had the tickets, or maybe she went to Indonesia or the Philippines. I can't remember, but that was her plan. I just came in and almost threw a wrench into it. I did for a moment, but she was going to stick with her plans. And between that and then something else happened, and I was hurt. My feelings were hurt. I was heartbroken. And I just cut her off because I could see at that point it just wasn't out. I cut my trip short. I came home back here to LA. I remember I was sitting here with a friend, and I think I had a machine at the time, and she had left a couple messages. What happened? Where'd you go? And she's crying on the phone and everything. I never called her back. None of it, because she had that plan. I can't compete with God. That's your choice, baby. Go and do it. You won, Lord. You stole a girl, could have been the love of my life, but you have her heart. I don't. That's what was going on in my brain, and that was it. But I never forgot her. And then I think it was the last time I was home, because I went home like 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. So all those years, and in 2017, I was there in the wintertime, and then I went back that summer. The following summers, success in order. Whatever the hell I'm trying to say, I just said it. And I lived in a van each time, and would crash on sofas here and there. And then the last time I went home, I was doing that. And then I got an apartment. A buddy of mine hooked me up with this apartment, and the guy who owned the apartment didn't even take money from me when he found out I had been in the Marines, which was cool. And I was getting ready to come back here, and she reached out to me out of the blue. Just so happened, she checked in on me. I don't think she knew I was there. And she had been living with a guy for a while, but it wasn't a great thing. And she came by. It was like the day before I was leaving. And we spent hours together just hanging. And there's pictures. Actually, for those of you that are sleuthy, you can go to my Mike Z Design Facebook page and scroll through. You'll see pictures where I'm in Jersey. And there's a picture, there's like 3 or 4 pictures. So you'll see the dots under there. But I think the first picture is like a pink sunset down at the bay there in Seaside Park. And if you scroll through those, there's a picture of she and I in there. And you'll see how adorable she is. I think she's stunningly attractive. And smart and funny and all those things. But she was living with this guy who happens to be Greek, by the way. By the way, she's also been married. In all that time, she did get married for a period of time, and she's been divorced. And then she met this other guy. But it's a strange relationship. They're not really a couple per se at this point. Like, they're still living in the same house. She sleeps in another room, and they're just kind of friends. And they've done the therapy thing and everything. But talking to her and listening to what she says that he's said, he's not going to change. He's not going to marry her, and that she'd like to do that. And so, yeah, it's interesting, the timing right now. And we've been having some really good conversations. And she still goes to church and everything. She's obviously not interested in being a nun anymore. Thank God. Thank you, Lord. You done with her now? I get your sloppy seconds, Lord. I'm getting God's sloppy seconds. We put that on a t-shirt. That is a crazy idea. I don't think anybody's ever said that before. I'm getting God's sloppy seconds. Oof. Is that sacrilegious? Did I just offend a whole swath of people? What a crazy. I got to work on that as a premise. God's got a sense of humor. He created me. Clearly, I got in trouble for saying that in high school, by the way. Mrs. Fisher's history class. I was goofing around. I called God the big guy. She accused me of being sacrilegious in front of everybody. And I always stood up to adults, even when I was a little kid. And I'm like, Miss Fisher, clearly God has a sense of humor. He created me, all right? And I just did it again. At any rate, here we are. So we've been talking pretty heavy here, and I think what I'd like to do is have her come out here and see the bachelor pad, see if that scares the hell out of her, and then get in the van and do a road trip to the house in Arizona at some point. So if that happens, or when that happens, it seems like it might happen, you guys will be part of it. I've been talking to her already about it. I was like, I do have this YouTube thing, so if you come out here, you'll end up being a part of it, and that'll be fun. But she's very outdoorsy and active, and she works out, and she stays fit, and she's kept her, she's stayed slim and all that. And those are all important things to me. On top of who she is as a human being, obviously. So it'll be fun. We'll see how it goes. But I'm kind of excited about it. At the same time, I got to focus on all the other things I got to do to survive here. So, and it's funny. I'm not just so you guys understand. I'm cautiously optimistic about it. I'm not all. I learned a long time ago not to put all my eggs in one basket and be like, that's going to happen. Because maybe nothing will happen. Who the hell knows? As a matter of fact, even with the thing in Arizona, I talked to my sister briefly today. I could use some help with her. I don't know if any of you guys can help. She's in Sierra Vista, Arizona. She doesn't like when I talk about her here, but I want to bring this up to a certain extent. 'Cause it's not really about her. It is, but it's nothing negative. But she had an issue years ago, probably over a decade ago, where she was... she had lived in this real tough town, Paterson, New Jersey, and so she knows and associates with some people who are not, cream of the crop, let's say. A lot of them have criminal records. She didn't, she's not that type. She never sold drugs or anything like that. She's not a gang person or anything like that. She was a single mom raising her kids in a tough town. But she went to school with these people. These are the people you grow up with. They're your friends. And then in life, they do these things. What are you going to do? So there was some car, it was a rental car, it wasn't hers. Some guy asked her for a ride and asked if she would drive. I guess he couldn't drive for some reason, but apparently he's kind of a bit of a hood, like a known criminal on the street. And the cops saw him and followed them and then pulled him over. And when they searched the car, there were drugs in the car that she didn't know about. It wasn't her car. And he didn't admit they were his, which he should have done to let her off the hook. but I guess he had enough troubles of his own. And she's like, they're not mine. I don't know. But because she was driving the car, they nailed her with that. And they were trying to use that to leverage her to get like some sort of information about what's going on the streets, but she doesn't know a lot. She might know some because she knows some of those people, but if she did, she wasn't going to rat them out, you know? So she ended up with a little bit of a thing on her. She's got a sheet now because of that, drugs in the car. I don't know. I don't know anything else about it other than it's a problem because it appears on her record now, and she's having a hard time getting a job because of that in Sierra Vista. On top of the fact that she's uh, single mom raising her kid, homeschooling her daughter and everything, and she's doing the DoorDash thing to make money, and because of that, with the kid and everything, it'd be hard for her to get like a regular job anyhow. So, but she's not. She's like a good human being. She's working hard, to get things done. I got a lot of respect for her for what she deals with. I feel for her. My heart breaks for her, to a large degree because she just can't get past this thing. And it's kind of like, I mean, we all make decisions that led to us living the way that we're living, and she's aware of it. It's not like she's in denial necessarily, but it's tough because she can't. She's kind of in a hole, and having a young kid, doesn't make it any easier, obviously. But I just gotta figure out something for her. It's hard though, because talking to her, I can give her all the advice in the world. Doesn't mean she's gonna take it, And it's easier said than done too. I mean, I know if it was me, because I hustle, and she hustles, but I'd be figuring it out, man. Go on Craigslist. I'd be putting ads in to clean a house, clean a room, clean out a garage, whatever. I'd go on there because people are always looking for somebody to clean something, personal assistant, whatever, shopping for somebody. Like you can figure that out, but you got to be focused on that. And her thing, she gets too wound up with it, and I know what that is because I suffer from the same thing. Like I should be doing things that I'm not doing because I have to there's only so much focus I could put into work and trying to get ahead and make money. The stress or anxiety of that, after a while, I have to purposefully not think about it, watch a movie and distract myself with a craft or something else because, there's only so much that you could take. It's not good for your mental health, and it will break you down and make you an unhappy person. Next thing you know, you're taking it out on everybody around you. So, but it's different for me because I'm alone. So I can go through those times and my dark times and everything else, and I don't have to have anybody around me that I'm going to, lash out at or anything. She doesn't have that chance. Her kid's with her all the time, and so that's tough on both of them. So when I say I need help for her. I got to figure out some way for her to be able to pull in some extra coin and get ahead in life. And it'd be nice if there was a way to clean up that record or something. I don't know. You guys are here. Some of you guys are in law enforcement and maybe even some attorneys or something. Maybe you know what she could do. You can give me a tip on that or something. We're all adults. It's not really my job to be doing that. But if there's something that I could throw at her that she could do a little bit of work on. By the way, she went to school for business management. Our father died, and she was going to school for that. And he always hooked her up. And so I said, look, I've told you this before, but I said, I'll give you $20 for every A that you get. And she was taking a full boat of classes. And so every semester she had straight A's. So I was basically throwing her $100, every semester for that. And she graduated top of her class. The problem is she's like me. We demand a lot of people, that's a strong word, but in a work environment, there are things that are expected of you, and we're workers. We had a father that worked hard, and that guy was highly respected, and he was the best at what he did. I was voted the best baker in New Jersey, and I think it was like 1978 or something like that in that time frame. And I've mentioned that before. Adults would shake my hand and tell me how much they respected my dad. Of course, a lot of them were mobsters, and we were involved in that too. So that probably had something to do with it. He making wedding cakes for mobsters. He used to take me with him to set those things up. I've told you those stories before. But what I'm getting at is, so if she's put in charge of something, she takes that seriously. So if she's working with a bunch of people and there's somebody not pulling their weight, she does her job by saying, "Hey, you're not pulling your weight." And she can give people some grief a little bit and trying to motivate them to do the job right. And that in this climate doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like you can't tell people the truth anymore. You can't be, "Hey, pull your head out of your ass and let's go. Stop being late. Get this going. Why am I doing your job?" That's not my job description, man. My job description is make sure you're doing your job. If I'm doing your job, what the hell are you here for? Stuff like that. So in the end, what had happened with her a few times, I suppose, is that she basically made it so like people were complaining to the higher ups that she's doing her job too good, which is crazy. Like if you own a company, you would want somebody like her, right? If you care about efficiency and getting things done right. So that's a weird thing, and that kind of bummed her out. She's funny. She was managing McDonald's back in the day, and she was going to go. The people that own the McDonald's were going to send her to the school. Like there's a McDonald's college or something, so she could like become like a higher up manager and maybe eventually get her own McDonald's. But she was involved in a robbery there. Like she was so funny. She called me. She goes, "Michael, you won't believe it." And she's like, a guy came in with a gun. And he said, "Nobody move." And she's like, "I just turned around and ran. I don't know if it's the right thing to do." And I'm laughing. I'm like, "No, that was the right thing to do. It's harder to hit a moving target." Like it's fight or flight, man. Somebody sticks a gun at you. Yeah, beat feet, man. Take off. She did the right thing. But it's just crazy. I care about her. I want her to do better. You guys met her daughter, my niece. She interviewed me on one of the Sunday night chats here a couple months ago, up on top of that mountain there, which my sister wasn't happy about either. She takes it too personally. That's all. Nobody's saying anything bad about her. She's a good human being. She cares too much. Some people care too much, and then the way that they care. Sometimes is misconstrued and taken the wrong way. So that's all that is. I just want the best for her. It's tough, It's a tough call. But she hasn't gotten everything out of the house yet, and she told me she put more stuff in the bedroom closet there, and I'm just like, I really want to start moving stuff over there and start working on that house. But it's hard to do if she can't get that stuff out of there. And I'm not on her case about it. I just tell her, and she's working on it, but it's not enough. Things are still there. So I wish I was ahead right now because I wish I could just say, "Aileen, what do you think all this crap is worth? What do you think? I got $300 here? Here's $300. I'm putting this shit on the curb." Because it's not. I'm not trying to be judgmental, but she's got like the stuff isn't really worth anything. She's saving it because she wants to get a bigger place, but what happened was, it was a really interesting point she made. She said that the people from California now are all moving to Arizona. So the rents are going up. And she's a Section 8 person. So there's a limit to what Section 8 will pay. When she lived out there 5-6 years ago, she had a house that was covered by Section 8. It was a big friggin' house with 3 bedrooms, man. A big yard and everything. And that was perfect. She never should have left. But now she can't get that. So she's in I think it's a pretty big apartment. I think the apartment she's in is nicer than the house I have there. But I think it's only 1 bedroom maybe. But it's big. And, but she doesn't have enough room for all of her stuff. So there's a thing there. And it's hard, man. It's hard. Because if you say the wrong thing, I don't need the ire. I got enough problems in my life. I just want us to get along. Because the funny thing about my sister is I was there the day she was born. I was changing her diapers and feeding her. I was there the first time she stood. I helped her say her name and write her name out and all those things. And she was always this really great, spirited, fun-loving little kid, quick to laugh and all of it. And then, unfortunately, my mom was living in Patterson, man. And so that was the environment she was brought up in. And it made life tougher than it needed to be, And she's never gotten over our dad dying. So that's a hard one for her. So it's tough. And she's emotional. She's a woman, you know. So I care about her immensely. It should go without saying. But it's a thing right now. It's making things a little harder on me. And so, yeah. So if anybody in the Sierra Vista area has any ideas there, let me know. And by the way, even if you tried to help, there's no guarantee she's going to accept it. Because it's got to all work in her brain. Everything has to work with the way she understands it. It's a little difficult. Anyhow, if she sees this, Aileen, don't be mad at me, all right? And if you want to put up your dukes, we'll go at it, and you know I'll knock your block off. She's got this attitude about her, man. She's tough, though. My sister is tough. Holy cow. Like, she's knocked some dudes out. I found a video of her on the internet, which was weird. I guess I Googled her name one time, and this video came up somehow, you know, in the hood. And she put a beer can on the roof of a car, and she did a spinning back kick, bam, and knocked the beer off. The thing's like, oh my God. My sister. I taught her how to fight when she was young, and I taught her the good stuff, you know, elbows and where to strike on the body, and, you know, for maximum efficiency to incapacitate somebody, you know, leverage, you know, how to throw a punch properly, lowering your hips, your feet are planted correct, you're in a fighting stance, you're throwing a twist into it to get maximum effect, make sure it's these two knuckles, really the palm of the hand is better, all these things, and she uses it. She actually, at one point, this is a few years ago, her daughter was with this guy who she's still with. She had a kid with him. Everything is fine. They're in a loving relationship. I'm very happy for them. But at this moment in time, there was some tension. And this guy, and he's a big, tall guy, got in my sister's face, and she belted him so hard in the mouth, he went down in a parking lot. And cops came. It was a friggin' disaster. She called me up. The cops are after me right now. And then this is your fault for teaching me how to do this stuff. It was all my fault. I can't win, man. I can't win. Anyhow, I don't know what the hell I was talking about here. That's what's going on. So we'll keep this short. It's probably been just under an hour or so. We'll leave it at this. Let me just think here if there's anything I wanted to say that I forgot about. Just keeping you guys apprised of kind of what's going on. That's all the Sunday night chat really usually is. I would prefer to be more funny, I suppose. And I had that in my mind today, but I kind of ended up talking about things that are going on. And but we'll pick some topics coming up in the future here. Again, you're going to see, I'm going to bombard you a little bit. There's going to be the videos with the Mike Z design, how I did it. And I've got to do videos on these products real quick, but I'm going to try to keep these short, these flashlight things. Again, on those flashlights or any of these products, I'm going to tell you in the video what's going on. I'm not making any money on that. I'm not doing their affiliate program. I might be rethinking that. This is something I can share with you. YouTube will, with me, they send me a lot of emails. I have a Gmail account. As anybody on YouTube, I think you need to have that. So they send me the stuff there, and I don't participate. And it's all meant to help me be a better YouTube creator. It's just too much, you know, and actually this brings up a point that I did want to talk about. In case you guys haven't picked up on it, I'm fucking with you, man. I'm screwing with you guys a lot of the time, okay? Like the Thanksgiving special, watch me fold laundry, that was a ridiculous thing. But a lot of you got it and enjoyed it. I'm purposefully trying to be low-tech and just a genuine person without all the fluff, without all the crazy stuff that you can do through YouTube, because I want to prove. There's a guy, I don't know what your name is, but it's 3 times now you've used this quote with me, which I really like, and every time you've mentioned it, I said I like it. He says, I do things purposefully, I'm going to paraphrase, purposefully doing things incorrectly to prove that it doesn't matter. And he said in his last quote to me or comment that he got that from a high school shop teacher. I think that's correct. The guy purposefully did things incorrectly to prove it doesn't matter. That's what I'm doing. And I've been doing that for a long time, but I never thought about articulating it in that manner. But that's what it is. My thing is really, I like needling people a little bit and screwing with people who take themselves too fucking seriously. Some of you take yourselves too friggin' seriously, man. Take it down a couple notches. It's not that serious. It's just roll with the punches a little bit. Have a friggin' sense of humor. But that's what I'm doing with this, because I know YouTubers who put in way too, in my opinion, it's too much time, right? It's just crazy. And when, you know, some of these things, like guys who have 1 million subscribers or more, and those people are probably making $20,000 a month, $40,000, some crazy amount of money that they're pulling in. On top of that, they've got affiliate programs. Their videos are sponsored by people, that sort of thing. I'm open to some of that to a certain extent, but I don't want this at this stage. I can't afford to make YouTube my main focus. I'm already putting way too much time into this as it is. Making this video is one thing and uploading it is another. The big one's the comments and that sort of thing. But I just see a lot of people jumping into this thing with YouTube where they think this is what's gonna pay the bills, and they buy all the stuff. They buy the cameras and the gear and the lights and everything, and then they can edit, and they're editing all the clips, and really their production value is fucking awesome, you know. But then they get 40 people watching. You know, some of these people are delusional. They are. It's nice what they're doing. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I think everybody should give it a shot. That doesn't mean everybody's going to be good at it, right? But you should be able in this life to try all the things you want to try. If it doesn't work, you should at least be honest with yourself about that and maybe put effort in, you know, in another lane, another avenue of something there. Because these people are investing a crap ton of time into producing a video and putting it out there, and then they're friggin' miserable because they have all these high expectations that they're not meeting. So you have to, you know, lower your expectations for one thing, or, like, again, I've said to every girl I've ever gone out with, no expectations, no disappointments, baby. You know what I'm saying? Don't expect all this crap from me, and then if I don't give it to you the way you expect it to be, now you're upset with me. That's not my fault. That's your fault. Because you have all these ideas in your head. I can't get into your head. You can tell me what your idea... You just tell me what that shit is from the beginning, and I'll tell you. No, it ain't gonna happen. You know, or it'll be very hard to get me to do that. That is not my thing. Whatever it is, just be honest. Now back to YouTube with the email. So YouTube will send me all these things, and I've been ignoring it. And I guess I kind of see it this way. All of a sudden, YouTube started... When you open your YouTube page... You saw the videos listed that you can scroll through. That's the browser. That's the browsing feature there. And all of a sudden, because these are kind of suggestions for you from YouTube, and usually it's based on what you're looking at. But all of a sudden, I started getting these helpful YouTube videos from more successful YouTubers than I am, which is not saying much. Almost everybody on YouTube is more successful than I am. And I watched a couple of them, because a couple of them were older guys. Like, one guy's all about find your niche over 40 or whatever. And I watched a couple, real nice guy, long hair, receding hairline worse than mine with long hair. So I feel good about that. But he's a sweet guy. And you'll notice at the end of my videos now, I'm showing like another video you can click on, or the subscribe thing. I never tell you to subscribe. I don't want to be that guy. Hey, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. I hope you do. I hope you're sharing the ones that you get something out of, you think are poignant here, or uplifting, or exceptionally funny, and you share that. I know that people do share the videos, but I'm not going to be that guy reminding you to do that all the time. And I'm never going to be the guy. If I do this, I'm telling you, hand to God. God loves me, but you know, he did just recently give me his sloppy seconds, possibly, but you know, I don't want to be that guy. Like, the video starts and like 2 minutes into it's like, hey, if you're liking this video, please subscribe. Dude, I'm 2 minutes in. I don't know if I like it yet. Sometimes it's not even 2 minutes in and they're telling you to do that. You know, big thing across the screen or it stops or whatever. I think what's interesting that what YouTubers are doing now, they've kind of caught on, is when they do their own commercial, they're talking to you. And by the way, while we're here today, we're going to talk about Roxy Vaughn flashlights because they've been sending me these flashlights and Rovi Vaughn. The Rovi Vaughn, or I won't be here going, what is this one? Or, by the way, today it's brought to you by Woobin. It's not, by the way. It's not brought to you by either one of these things because, again, these people are not giving me any money. They're just sending me a product that I think is kind of neat. But now I owe them because they sent me the product. But you understand what I'm saying here. I don't want to be that guy, but if I'm going to grow enough and I want to keep growing, I'm going to have to be open to some product placement here and there. And if I do that, I got to be honest with you about it. But I'm always going to be honest with you about the product, like what I really think of it. And then sponsorships would be good. That I can get into, right? There's some company, they're going to supply me with denim shirts or something, or watches, or I don't know about these guys, but if they're willing to, I don't know what it is. I think some people are getting $1,000 or a few $1,000s a month for a sponsorship to maybe so many videos a week. They probably have to mention that product. I don't know. I haven't been approached with that yet. I am open to that. So this is me. If that bothers you, I'm just telling you, I'm apologizing to you in advance. That's going to be the only way for me to grow and be able to make more money. Because if the YouTube thing gets to a point, because right now, I'll just tell you, just full disclosure and be honest with you, the money I'm bringing in, it's not bad money. It's real money. I mean, last month it was over $740. So if I was living in Arizona, if I wasn't living here, if I moved out of LA and was living in a house in Arizona, off the top, I'm saving about $1,100 a month just in rent. The house is paid for. There's no rent there. So plus the cost of living here, the cost of fuel and food and everything else. It's so much more affordable to be living there. So with just YouTube and a little bit of VA stuff, I'm already in pretty good shape. I could probably just be making cool stuff and selling it right here through the channel. I don't want that to rub you the wrong way, all right? What I mean by that is if I'm doing my crafty thing, like if I'm going to make a holster, like I did here, which by the way, let's bring this up real quick. I guess this is going to be a longer video. I made this flapped shoulder holster for my 1911. I'm calling this the Woodsman holster. And I did a few videos on this, and I put it out there, saying, hey, who wants one of these things? And they would be in the $400 range just because of the amount of work that goes into it, And, it's got the shoulder strap pad here. This is perfect. It's a great thing, and everybody recognizes how smart of an idea it is. Here's the thing. I've been working on this other one, and on the back side of it, I rigged it so you could slide a belt through it. Now, of course, you could see here, that was a mistake I didn't figure out until I started putting it together. So on the next one, this is going to be narrower here because I had to stitch over this to do this stitching here, which means I think I was at like 12 millimeters at that point, trying to get that to at least 10 millimeters. And it was very difficult. I had to use a drill bit. And what this does to your hands, trying to punch those, and it's all being sewn by hand. The snap is not on it yet. Clearly, it's not oiled or anything. But I can't make these and sell them. I mean, even if somebody was willing to pay me $400 for this thing, it's not worth the aggravation right now. It's just not. The material costs money, for one thing. It's not a whole lot, but it's real money. It's the time. It's just days and days of work it's just painstaking trying to push this through. I need a machine to do this properly. And so that's going to be what I look at next. Possibly buying some leather machine, sewing machine that'll sew through this. But this was a good idea because you could take it off the shoulder holster strap, and if you wanted to, see this wears right here, it can be adjusted, and then you could always just wear it on a belt, which is a neat thing. And again, the flap, and the reason I'm calling it the Woodsman's holster is because if you carry this thing the way it's supposed to be carried, which is it's not loaded. This right here with the thumb safety on, all right, that's called condition 1. And that's how you want to carry it in the holster. So when you pull it out, it's good to go. You don't have to rack it or anything. You're good to go. It's muscle memory at that point. You draw it, take your thumb off the safety, and pull the trigger. So the thing is, if you're carrying it that way and you don't have a flap, which I did for years, I'd be out in the forest like this, debris is falling in there. It's not good. So I always wanted the holster with the flap rather, and now I made one. But again, it's miserable. It is miserable trying to sew this thing the way I've been doing it by hand. So I even broke a pricking iron in my press. I don't want to get into the whole story right now, but it's a smart idea. I'm doing high quality work here. It's good stuff. Anybody be proud to use. This is not finished. Like I said, it's not oiled or anything. I even made one here for my 357 Magnum, which I think is cool because it's so compact. And I used water and a press and everything, and I molded this for the pistol. So it just fits in there perfect. But again, it's too much. It's just too time consuming. Doesn't matter what somebody's going to pay you. I mean, it does. If somebody's going to give you super crazy money, I suppose it would be worth it. But I'd feel weird about taking that kind of money too, because I would want this to be so perfect. That's a thing. You see it in the furniture. When somebody gives me a deposit to do a project, I am obligated to complete it. And I want to complete it to the best of my ability. However, I also have to work within a budget. Of course, this is a conversation you have before you take any money from somebody, you know. Usually the way it works is somebody comes to me and they say, I want this thing. I like what you did. Can you do that for me? And I say, well, that cost this much. Now, some people are like, okay, no problem, whatever. Some people are even like, okay, well, I want other things with it, or I want a little different, and they understand and they're willing to pay even more. Those are my favorite clients. Great. There's no problems with that. More often than not, especially the last 4 years, and even during the Biden years, the Obama years, that was a different story. People didn't want to spend that much money. Those Trump years that were there, that was awesome. But these Biden years were rough, man. So everybody was coming at me like, I want this. Well, here's what it costs. Well, I only have this much. Well, you know. But the thing is sometimes I need money. So what I have to do is I'd say, here's the deal. Here's what this would normally be. And I understand what you want. We just have to walk it back a little. If I use different materials, if I do some different techniques, basically things that make it so it costs less for materials, it takes less time to make, I could maybe work within your budget. I hate doing that. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. But sometimes willing to do that. The only people I'm willing to do that for are people that I genuinely like. So as long as you're a cool person, usually we can work that out. But it's just some things just take a long time. There's quality. There's a couple different quotes, right? One of them is everybody wants 3 things: good, fast, cheap. You can only have any 2 of those things. That's the way the real world works. If you want it good and cheap, it ain't gonna be fast. If you want it fast and cheap, it ain't gonna be good. You heard? So, if you want it fast and good, it ain't gonna be cheap, right? And then there's this other one I have. I can't remember it verbatim, but it's on the Mike Z Design Facebook page. The cover photo is a sign. It's like the bitterness of low cost. I can't remember what the quote is. I should look it up for you. But if you go to the Mike Z Design, basically the point of it is like, you might feel good at the low cost thing, but you're not going to be happy with the result of it. Like it's worth paying the money to get things done right. Quality costs money. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. So, and that's another reason why I've never beat up on the rich. I understand that people who have money spend it, and they like paying for things that are cool and unique. Rich people. It's funny. I bring this up from time to time because a lot of people don't seem to understand economics and how the world really works. But I'll use watch as an example. And I use this example all the time. When a new product comes out, right, that's cool and hip and trendy, It's expensive. The only people who can afford it are the rich, right? The poor people can't afford it. But the rich people being able to afford it, what happens is they pay the top dollar for that item. Let's take digital watches as an example. When digital watches appeared in the 60s, they were hundreds of dollars, $300 for a digital watch. $300 in 1967, that's like $5,000 today. Seriously. So, what the crazy thing is $300 for a digital watch in the late 60s. By the 1980s, they were giving them away for free in a Happy Meal. You understand what I'm saying? When VHS machines came out, they were super expensive. Right? Now you can get them for nothing. CDs, same thing. Everything. When it comes out, it's expensive. And the way it works is those companies, they take the money, right, that they're making in the beginning, the top dollar, and then they reinvest it in their own company. And they hire more people, and they rework the technology, and they make the technology better, and they eventually can produce the same product for less money, passing the savings on to you. That's how that works. That's how it's always worked. So knocking the rich is a stupid thing to do. And they're the people that can afford me. That's just how it is. The problem for me with the wealthy, the affluent, is they don't know I exist. You know, I'm not really hobnobbing in their circles. Now, back in the 90s, the late 90s into the 2000s, before Obama appeared, I was doing real well with it because I was hobnobbing more. Because I used to go to the art shows and go to the parties and things in LA and just appear at these things. And that's where these people are. But those Obama years were, everybody stopped spending money at that time. I was hanging on by my fingernails, 8 years of that bullshit. So it was hard. And again, I just went through. Now, for about 2.5 years, up until this past spring, I was okay. I wasn't making a ton of money, but I was working pretty regular for one client who I've not gone back to. I was recently speaking with them, and they would like me to come back, but there's just a little bit too much over there, drama-wise, and there's kind of a headache, and it's convoluted, and all the talking I got to do to get money and waiting, it's just not worth the aggravation. So I think I'm over that now, and I'm just going to, sprout my, put my feelers out and make other things happen. And now, with what's happening, good things are already happening with the Trump effect, man. There's a Trump effect happening. It's pretty amazing. If you're still listening to NPR, CNN, MSNBC, you're still being brainwashed with bullshit, and they're still trying to divide you. I've been listening to NPR a lot lately in the car when I'm driving because I broke the little machine thing that I can use to listen to my iPod through the stereo. They are so horrible. I've been thinking about it. Let me know in the comments if I can do this. Maybe I'll try it, and if I don't get flagged for it, I want to set the camera up on the dash like I do, but have NPR. And every time I hear him say something stupid, which is about every 3 to 5 minutes, I want to turn it down and then address what I just heard and what you just heard. Be like, well, they just said that. That's bullshit, and here's why. Like, just tear it down in real time. It's so crazy. It's so crazy what they're doing there. Or maybe not that it's wrong, but it's like, you see what they did there, the way they worded that? The only reason they did it is because of this, right? Which is usually divisiveness, right? Keep us divided. Keep making us tribal. That's what they're doing. It's nonsensical, crazy. They're still doing it. Like these people, it's not all of them. This is not the Democrats, by the way. This is a small group of people, finite amount of people. But they're the ones talking. They're the ones that make it seem like it's that bad. And they're deranged. They got Trump derangement syndrome, but they're just sick in the head anyhow. They just believe socialism is a good idea. It's just so crazy what they think. They believe a bunch of ideas that over and over and over again have been proven to be terrible ideas. Make everybody equally miserable. It's insane. But the good news is most of us know that. I mean, I've known this for decades, but more people are waking up to it now, and that's the best part of what happened with this election. It's pretty good. They're going to fight it. They're going to fight everything. Some of them, and even some of the Republicans, because they're not. They're rhinos, right? Republican in name only. And a lot of these people are career politicians, which reminds me, hashtag term limits. we all need to be on this right now. We got to be doing hashtag term limits. We got to remind everybody all the time, now's the time. We've never had a better chance at it. So once Trump gets in there, hopefully he can get something passed so we can get some term limits going here. Very, very, get the DEI crap out of the military. Get rid of the Department of Education altogether. That's going to be a hard one for him to accomplish. But my God, if he could do that, our kids would get smarter practically overnight, because that would, getting rid of the Department of Education would get rid of all the nonsensical bureaucracy that's been going on in the schools that's been taking away from educating your children, right? Because they've just been programming your children with a bunch of bullshit. It doesn't mean teachers get fired or anything, although bad teachers should get fired. Should be able to fire those people. So hopefully we'll see all this stuff start to happen pretty soon. It's already happening. I believe they want peace in the Middle East right now. What did I see on the news already? I can't remember. We'll get into that another time, because I'm pretty certain we're over an hour now. You don't need to be staying here this long with me at this point. Thanks for being here. I hope it wasn't a waste of your time. I always wonder about that with you guys, but I keep getting positive comments, so I suppose I'm doing something right. In case you haven't picked up on it, I'm not that full of myself. I'm not overly confident. I'm confident that I can sit here and talk, but I'm not confident that what I'm talking about is anything that you actually want to listen to. And every time I'm done with this, I'm uploading and I'm thinking, geez, am I pissing people off, or do they still want to be here? But you guys keep coming, so I appreciate it. And I feel like I'm leading you on in a way or something, because I keep saying it'll get better, and it will, as I have time. I get these comments all the time. I want to see doing more adventures. I want to see more bike stuff. I want to see more van stuff. I want to see more woodworking stuff. Hey man, I'm one guy. There's only so much I can do. I'm trying to do it all as I can. But again, that eats up a lot of my time, and I got to make a living here. So please understand. Maybe that's why the people with I'm learning this. I'm trying to figure out as I go, because the YouTube thing, I know that there's the Patreon, and the problem with Patreon is that it's even more of your time, right? But then you people are willing to shell out a couple bucks a month or whatever it is, and that can add up. I mean, if I had 200 people giving me, $2 a month, that's $400 on top of what, you know what I'm saying? So like that adds up, but then now I've got to put that extra time in on YouTube. So at this point, I can't do it. But as the subscribers increase, and as my numbers increase on viewing time on the videos I'm doing, and the only income I'm getting really is from AdSense, which every professional YouTuber says you can't rely on that. That's not a smart way to go. You should be doing all these other things, including sponsorships and, all these, and the affiliate stuff, affiliate programs with products and everything else. I just don't want to come off like that's my thing. I want to be here for you, just a guy sitting here having a conversation. So I'm going to have to find this happy medium. However, I do know that, like, one time when I was going to go out to see Sarah, and I mentioned the thing about gas money, I put it out there, and a bunch of people reached out, and next thing you knew, I had a few $100s, which covered my gas, just from nice people. But I don't ever want to be a beggar asking for anything. I can take care of myself. But again, to make my product better, my channel better for you, that means I have to donate more time to it. Donating more time to it at this point, I don't see it netting me enough coin to put that kind of effort into it. I have to put more time into my clients and getting work done. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm in this weird spot right now, and all I can ask is be patient, work with me on this. Share the stuff as you can. I suppose like and subscribe helps. Smash the buttons. Do all the stuff. That helps, because as I grow, once I get to a point with this where it's, over $1,000 a month and I can count on pretty much every month, all of a sudden things are looking pretty good. Once I get to about $1,500 a month or so, I'm better. Eventually one day it'll be $2,000 a month. And when that happens, that's pretty much covers my nut, And at that point, I can donate or dedicate all my time to just doing things that'll make the channel even better. I'm just in that weird spot right now. But I shouldn't give myself too much grief. From what I understand, I did the research, they say less than 3% of YouTubers ever make it to 10,000 subscribers. And I've already done that. So I'm already doing better than a lot of other people with that. And that's all because of you. So thank you. I really do appreciate it. And fun stuff's going to happen. I know I keep talking about the comedy thing, and I have some bits I want to do. And they'll all be different lengths. Might be a minute here, 2 minutes there, 5 minutes there, 20 minutes there. I've got this one thing I really want to do, but to do it, I need enough coin to do some t-shirts. Otherwise, it's not worth it, because that's part of the gag at the end is a t-shirt, which I can sell and make some money too. So, damn it, I gotta work on that, man. Because really, I want to make you feel good and make you happy. I don't want you just listening to my life. Thank you for that, but I'd rather be giving you more of a reaction to this and make it feel like it's worth your time. Because I think that it's I value you, and I want to make sure I keep you here. So that's it. Go on with your day. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I hope you all had a good weekend. Let's hit the ground running tomorrow. It's December. Christmas is around the corner. Yeah, I mean, I don't really ever do anything for Christmas or my birthday, but maybe this year will be different. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And that's it for now. Be kind to one another. I'll catch you in the next one.